Yesterday, we finished reading chapter 5, The Way to a Fortunate Rebirth. So we have finished almost around half of the book, 5 chapters. Today, we are going to start reading on chapter 6, Deepening One's Perspective on the World. We will spend a few days on the introduction, probably around 5 days to 1 week. Yeah. And then we will dive into the sutta itself. Introduction. In interpreting suttas, we have to take account of the circumstances under which they were spoken and the persons to whom they were addressed. During the course of his long ministry, the Buddha had to adjust his teaching to people with different capacities and needs. He taught those given to reckless behavior to abandon their self-defeating ways and engage in wholesome actions that yield pleasant fruits. He taught those inclined to resign themselves to fate that present effort determines our present quality of life as well as our future destiny. He taught those convinced that personal existence ceases with bodily death, that living beings survive the breakup of the body and re-arise in accordance with their karma. He taught those not yet ripe enough for higher attainments to aspire for rebirth among the devas, the celestial beings, and to enjoy the bliss and glory of the heavens. So the first paragraph is basically what we read during the first 5 chapters. Yeah, how the Buddha adjusts his teachings to suit the needs of different people, with different capacities. Those who are reckless, are taught to engage in wholesome fruits, like this. Those who are resign themselves to fate, are taught that if you put in effort, you can improve your quality of life, in this life, in this very life, and as well as future life. Those who think that after death, there's no more existence, it's taught that no, after death, you will be reborn according to your karma. Like this. And those who are not ready for higher attainments, the Buddha taught them to aspire for heavenly rebirth among the devas, enjoy the bliss and glory of the heavens. Sister Saikyang, would you like to continue?
A blissful heavenly rebirth, however, is not the final purpose for which the Buddha taught the Dharma. At best, it is only a temporary way station. The ultimate goal is the cessation of suffering. And the bliss of the heavens, no matter how blissful, is not the same as the cessation of suffering. According to the Buddha's teaching, all states of existence within the round of rebirths, even the heavens, are transient, unreliable, bound up with pain. Thus, the ultimate aim of the Dharma is nothing short of liberation, which means total release from the round of birth and death.
Thanks, Sister Saikyang. To me, this is interesting. Buddhism, compared to other religions usually consider heavens as their last destination, their final purpose. But Buddhism goes one step further. A heavenly blissful rebirth is not the final purpose for which the Buddha taught the Dharma. Here it says. So what is the final purpose in Buddhism? It is nothing short of liberation. Total release from the round of birth and death. Sister Shomei, would you like to continue?
What lies beyond the round of rebirths is an unconditioned state called Nibbana. Nibbana transcends the conditioned world, yet it can be attained within conditioned existence in this very life and experiences the extinction of suffering. The Buddha realized Nibbana through his enlightenment, and for the next 45 years of his life, he endeavored to help others realize it for themselves. The realization of Nibbana comes with the blossoming of wisdom and brings perfect peace, untarnished happiness, and the stilling of the mind's compulsive drives. Nibbana is the destruction of thirst, the thirst of craving. It is also the island of safety amid the raging currents of old age, sickness, and death.
Okay, thanks, Sister Shomei. This paragraph explains more about Nibbana and how Nibbana is the destruction of thirst, the thirst of craving. Also, Nibbana is the island of safety amid the raging currents of old age, sickness, and death. Sister Lin Tai, would you like to continue?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. To guide his spiritually mature disciples toward Nibbana, the Buddha had to steer them beyond the blissful rewards that could be won in a future life by performing wholesome deeds. He did so through the world-transcending facets of his teaching, those aspects designed to lead disciples beyond the triple world of sense sphere existence, form sphere existence, and formless existence. Again and again throughout the discourses, the Buddha offered an uncompromising, razor-sharp exposure of the dangers inherent in all conditioned states of being. He sounded a clear warning signal that all states of existence are perilous and fraught with pain. He insisted unambiguously that the one hope of lasting security lies in complete purification and liberation of the mind. He presented a path that cuts through ignorance and craving in their entirety and dispels attachment even to the most refined state of meditative absorption.
Okay, thanks, Sister Lin Tai. Okay, previously, Bhikkhu Bodhi explains that Nibbana is the destination, but how exactly the Buddha guides and steer the spiritually mature disciples towards Nibbana. So he did so through the world-transcending facets of his teaching. This is basically the point of this whole chapter, that leads the disciple beyond the triple world of sense sphere, form sphere, and formless existence. The Buddha again and again offers an uncompromising razor-sharp exposure of the dangers inherent in all conditioned states of being. So this is how the Buddha keeps urging his disciples to keep practicing to reach the final goal. And don't stop. He sounded a clear warning signal that all states of existence are perilous and fraught with pain. Let's take a look at this word. Perilous, full of danger or risk, exposed to imminent risk of disaster or ruin. He insisted ambiguously that the one hope of lasting security lies in complete purification and liberation of the mind. Sister Aikim, would you like to continue?
In his graduated discourse on the Dharma, given to introduce receptive newcomers to his teaching, the Buddha regularly began by discussing such practices as giving and moral discipline. He would extol the beauty of such virtues as generosity, harmlessness, honesty, and self-restraint, explaining how such meritorious deeds lead to the joys of a heavenly rebirth. At this point, he will reveal the danger, degradation, and defilement in sensual pleasures, and the blessings of renunciation. Having thus gradually ripened the minds of his audience, he would next expound the doctrine distinctive of his own teachings, the Four Noble Truths, suffering, its origins, its cessation, and the path. When the Buddha himself taught the Four Noble Truths, his purpose was not to give his listeners an introductory course in basic Buddhism, but to awaken in them the vision of the Dharma, the first direct realization of the transient truth that sets the disciple on the irreversible path to liberation.
Thanks, Sister Aikim. Here, in the graduated discourse of Dharma, when there are newcomers, receptive newcomers, who are willing to listen, willing to lend their ears, the Buddha starts actually not by directly going to the core teaching, the Four Noble Truths, but the Buddha starts with discussing practices such as giving, moral discipline, exactly what we read in the previous chapter. Then the Buddha will explain the beauty of generosity, harmlessness, self-restraint, how meritorious deeds leads to the joys of a heavenly rebirth. And again, the previous chapter. Afterwards, the Buddha starts to reveal the danger, the degradation, the defilement in sensual pleasures, and the blessings of renunciation. Then, after ripening the minds of the audience, and the Buddha will start to expound the Four Noble Truths. Here, Bhikkhu Bodhi makes the point. The purpose was not, when the Buddha expounded the Four Noble Truths, the purpose was not to give an introductory course in basic Buddhism. At this point, the Buddha already wants them to penetrate the vision of the Dharma. Okay, sister. Okay, I think I can read the next one. Though we sometimes read in the suttas that disciples attain their first experience of awakening merely by listening to the Buddha preach, this does not mean that the Dharma is easy to understand. Such disciples could penetrate the truth with such apparent ease because their faculties were mature, perhaps too because they had accumulated sufficient supporting conditions from previous lives. But by its very nature, the world-transcending Dharma goes against the grain of the mundane mind. The Buddha describes the Dhamma as subtle, deep, and difficult to see. And one of the things that makes it so difficult to see is its thesis that the highest happiness cannot be won by yielding to the longings of the heart, but only by subduing them. This thesis runs utterly counter to the thought, attitudes, and actions of people fully immersed in the world. As long as we are infatuated with the seductive lures of sensual enjoyment, as long as we take delight in being this or becoming that, we will regard the sublime Dhamma as a mystery and a puzzle. The Buddha therefore realized that the first major challenge he would face in establishing his world-transcending Dhamma was to break the grip that sensual pleasure and worldly attachment have upon the mind. He had to knock the mind out of its accustomed ruts and set it moving in an altogether different direction. He had to steer his disciples away from the lures of sensuality and worldly attachment and guide them toward disenchantment, complete dispassion, and awakening. So basically, this paragraph talks about all the danger in sensual pleasures and how the first major challenge that the Buddha would face was to break the grip that sensual pleasures and worldly attachment have upon the mind. Sister Sakya, would you like to continue?
The requirements of this task drew upon all the Buddha's skills as a teacher. It demanded that he make ample use of his ability to precisely adjust his teaching to the mental proclivities of the people who came to him for instruction. It demanded that he speak up frankly and candidly, even when candor bred resentment. It demanded that he enter the fray of debate, even though he much preferred the peace of seclusion. It demanded that he uses similes, metaphors, and parables whenever concrete illustrations could give his arguments stronger appeal. It demanded that he uphold his principles strongly, whether his adversaries were hostile ascetics or miscreant monks within the ranks of his own order. See the opening sections of Majjhima Nikaya 22 and Majjhima Nikaya 38, not included in this anthology. That the Buddha succeeded so well in fulfilling this difficult task is counted among his truly wonderful and marvelous accomplishment. This is a point to which text 6, chapter 1, bears eloquent testimony. Thank you.
Thanks, Sister Saikyang. I think this paragraph is beautiful. To me, maybe I'm biased, but to me, I would say, I have listened to a lot of speakers. I would still say the Buddha is the greatest public speaker of all time. Even though I don't get to witness him speak directly, just from the words, just from the text itself, I can feel how the Buddha succeeded so well in fulfilling this task. The Buddha used all the techniques that the public speakers use, similes, metaphors, parables, and then adjust, knowing the audience, adjusting to his audience needs. This is all the traits of a great speaker. So I really love this paragraph. Okay, I think this is a good time to stop. Anything you would like to add or comment? Okay.
I wonder, I thought something was really poignant just now. It shouldn't, it's such an obvious thing, right? That the Buddha actually attained Nirvana during this lifetime, during his lifetime, and taught for another 45 years. But the background thinking that's going on in our head, or at least for me, is that it sort of conventional thinking seem to make us think that actually once you reach Nirvana, that's it. It doesn't talk about a post-Nirvana obligation to teach, or you know what I'm trying to say? There's this tendency to think that Nirvana is an endpoint. Just a thought that come to my mind, and something that I'm guilty of.
Actually, I mean, if we are not Buddha, after we reach the Nirvana, there is no obligation for us to teach. It is out of voluntary, way that the Buddha see. Oh, perhaps this is good to teach others, right?
No, I think the point is you can reach Nirvana in what we are used to call a lifetime. In a particular lifetime. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thanks for the comment, Sister Shami. Does Aiken want to add anything just now? Is it? No, okay. Okay, in that case, would Sister Aikim like to do the closing dedication?
回向，愿消三障诸烦恼，愿得智慧真明了，不愿追障悉消除，世世常行菩萨道。阿弥陀佛。
Thanks, Sister Aikim. Till we meet again, we will be guided by the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Have a skillful Thursday ahead. Thanks, everyone, and see you guys next time.